past, like a week ago, some fun little thing I wanted to share is I talked to her as I was helping her, prepare to go, and just told her I loved her so much, and that I just wanted her to know how honored I was for her to be with me as long as she was, and that I really hope she would come back to me. And I just asked her to give me signs that she was with me. And a couple days later, I was in my healing room with a client, and I'm working with her, and all of a sudden I heard her tail hitting the floor, and in my mind's eye, I could see her sitting to my right. And right then I kind of laughed, and my client was like, "Oh, what are you laughing about?" And I just was like, "Oh, I just felt like, I can feel Shiva here." And she started laughing, and she's like, "Tanya, I swear to God, I just heard her tail hitting the floor." And so I thought that was pretty cool because we both heard it, and we both knew she was here. And she's given me other signs since, just letting me know she's around. And so maybe just this happening to me is just to help each of you. Some of you maybe are struggling with a sense of loss of someone. And really what I've been shown is we're never alone, and we don't really lose anything. We do miss the form. Like, I will miss holding my little fuzzy, soft puppy, and I will miss that breath even, and I'll miss the clanking of her toenails. But I still feel her soul with me. I still feel her presence, and I know that her soul will choose a form that is more suitable for the rest of her journey, and I just celebrate that with her, and I really honor her courage to go on a new journey. And I feel like that's so important for us to each understand the natural process of death, and that it's not really the end, but it's just a transition. It's just a shape-shifting opportunity. And we really are shapeshifters, and there will be a time that each of us will choose to leave the form and to shapeshift into a new form that will serve us in a greater way. And so it's nothing really to be afraid of, but it is something to be honored and celebrated. And so I just wanted to thank each of you for joining me in honoring her, and just in the love that you sent to me and my family, because that really helped us a lot. And yeah, we cried a lot, and I'm sure I'll cry again. There's going to be times that I'll just think of her, and I do miss her, but at the same time, I sense her presence, and I just felt like it was important to talk about that. And so on that note, this week, what came to me because of all these things going on over the past couple weeks, I feel like what Spirit's really been teaching me and helping me understand so that I can help encourage others that are ready to understand that is the power of surrender. And so today, that's really the topic, is the art of surrender and what that is. And so for each of us, we're going to have these moments where it will really greatly serve us to learn to go with the flow and to really surrender and live in trust. And it's not, none of us are immune to this. And really, from my observation, the humans that suffer the most are the ones that feel the most in need to control life, to control the flow, to control others, to control everything. And that control, that need for control, truly comes from misalignment within the person that's in that space. Because when we feel out of control, when we feel afraid, when we feel intimidated or insecure, when there's ego operating very powerfully in our life, then we have a need to control others. However, if we can acknowledge that in us right now, if we know, wow, I've really been in that place, I've really been lashing out, I've been trying to control other people, I feel so controlling over my own world, we could really tune in and be honest with that. We can catch that and then choose higher thoughts. We can choose higher expression, and we can choose higher aligned action. And so living with surrender, living in surrender and living in trust, for myself personally, has been the most important gift that I've ever been given and really fully understood. And it did take me some time. There was times I was dragging my heels and just, ooh, I didn't like things being changed or taken, and I was kind of pissed off about it. And I used to complain, and I used to be angry, and, you know, it's now I'm going to blame somebody else because how dare them. And the more that I've been shown and taught that everything happens to us, everything comes to us for a greater purpose and a higher reason. And as we can tune into that purpose and that higher intention, we really can start to understand that this universe that is here supporting all of us, each of us, the universe is supporting our growth. It's supporting our evolution. And if we can learn to really tune into that support and trust that as situations flow to us, they're here to help us. They're here to help us to flow and trust and move in new directions. Our lives can become very magical and very beautiful as opposed to our past behavior and conditioning of control, where I refuse to let this happen. I am going to control this situation, and I'm going to lash out at anybody who gets in my way. And that behavior really creates more suffering for the one that's in that space, and honestly can create a lot of negativity and suffering for the people in their life. So living in surrender is just basically having a greater trust that there is a support system here in the universe that wants the best for you. And as you can let go of the need to control, as you can let go of the need to dictate and tell life all your plans, you can really see the magic in life. So some of you watching maybe have, you've been working really hard on a plan, and your logical mind tells you this is going to be good for your career, or this is going to be really good for your health, or this is going to be good for your relationships, or whatever it is. It's going to be good for you. And your logic keeps telling you that you got to stick to this plan. However, your experience is telling you that you're suffering and this doesn't feel right, and it feels exhausting, and it feels negative, and there's no honor. And so there comes this moment in time where we need to have the wisdom to really tune into the experience, to tune into the now, and really be honest with ourselves of what is it that I'm experiencing right now? And what is it that my heart is telling me? Like, what is my heart and soul, my inner voice guiding me to align with at this time? And that takes great courage, because so many, when they're in fear and they're wanting to control life and control their world, they're very much in their mind, and they're very much externally focused, and they're on the hamster wheel, spinning, keeping really busy. And that conditioned habit to do that is really not serving us. And it's usually exhausting us. And what, started as just a little irritation builds to greater anger, greater tension and stress, and then people become sick. They start having issues in their bodies. And really, if we can just get back to a place of honoring our body, of honoring our soul, and taking the time to pause, taking the time to rest when we need it, getting away from all the busyness when we really have soul-searching work to address, it's best for us to just go out in nature and be quiet and listen, and really listen to the whispers of our soul, because the inner voice, the intuitive voice, is always speaking truth to you. It is always guiding you in the direction of your soul's highest alignment, and it's very rarely listened to by most humans. Most of us are listening to the louder tantrum of the ego voice, and that tantrum voice is always demanding more. It's always in lack. It's always insecure. It's always threatened, competitive, telling you fearful things, trying to push you harder. telling you that you're not good enough, so why even bother? I mean, it's the full spectrum of emotion and the full spectrum of the energy of lack. If you want to get real simple, when you're in ego, there is a sense of lack in something. And when you come into alignment and you really are tuning into your higher wisdom, the higher wisdom voice in you, your inner voice, your intuition, will guide you and show you that you have everything you need right now. And it will guide you to help you understand the solutions to your questions. The solutions to your so-called problems are right there inside. And so for a lot of us, I feel we're in a space where we really need to honor stillness. We need to honor doing nothing, the time of beingness, just spending time daily in quiet, in meditation, walking in nature. I say this all the time because it's true. And the more that we can honor that need in us to be still and to quiet everything down, I promise you that as each of you shift this habit of busyness to come into stillness and listen, you're going to feel the direction. You're going to feel the flow. Just about every client that I've seen, this is a message the angels bring through, is their minds are busy. Their minds are negative. Most of you think the most terrible thoughts about yourself. And your angels and your guides love you, and they support you, and they think they think so highly of us. There's just pure unconditional love there. There's not judgment. I had a client recently, and I won't share her name, but I've had many clients, and I had a client recently that came in, and I was addressing some abuse that I sensed in her sexual organs, that I was shown that she had been abused, and that there was a lot of lower vibrational energies that were blocking in her sexual organs. And so we were discussing this, and she just looks at me and she's like, "It's because when I was younger, I was a big old slut." And I was just like, whoa. And then she's like, "It's okay. You can tell me if the angels think I'm a big slut." And I honestly laughed, because to me that was kind of funny. But what I explained to her was that her angels never have thought that about her. However, the way she sees herself, the way she judges herself, that is exactly what is causing her to suffer. And it's exactly what causes her to keep perpetuating that energy and that behavior, because there's some part of her that is loathing inside of herself. There's a part of her that's judging herself so harshly, and angels aren't in that energy. That's not the business of the angelic ones. They do bring us understanding, they bring us wisdom and guidance, but they love us. And even with this, bringing this awareness of her woundedness, it was not to judge her. It was not to say that there was something wrong with her or that she was a bad person. It was just to help her to see the woundedness inside of herself and how she was the one keeping it active. So when we look into the way we think about ourselves and the way we treat ourselves, we are the worst judge of our entire existence. And when we feel negative about ourselves and we judge ourselves, we often can draw the very beings that will convince us that these feelings are true. So we have these external, characters in our movie that will show up to show us, yeah, you think you're worth nothing. I'm here to show you that that's true. I'm here to keep playing that out with you until you realize that you deserve better, until you realize you're actually worthy. So that's my role, and I'm here to just kind of poke at that wound inside of you until you wake up and heal it. And so when we can understand this is what's going on, it can really be an amazing, beneficial opportunity when something comes along to poke at us. Instead of getting angry and reacting and judging it, we can just look in and go, whoa, why is this coming up? Like, what is this energy? Why are these people coming in this way? And then we can tune in and figure out what it is we need to clear. And sometimes people will come and just poke at us just because they want to try to stimulate our ego. And if we've risen above that, it won't work. We'll just look at them and understand exactly what they're doing, and we let it go.